So today I'm going to make steamed rice, and I'm cooking for 4 adults, friends of mine. So I'm going to do a long version. I'm just going to get this started and then explain exactly what I'm doing while it's cooking. So you can view this recipe on Food Wonders of the World. The link is below. So there's 2 ways that you can make steamed rice. They're both very similar, just with one of them you omit 2 steps. Reason being is on a weekday you probably are in more of a rush after work. You don't want to wait an hour for your rice, you just want something that's ready in 15-20 minutes. And also you probably want something a little bit healthier. So the way that I'm doing it at the moment is the longer, unhealthier version, as you just saw a big piece of butter go in. So I put in about 1 tablespoon of oil, just vegetable oil or sunflower oil. I've put in a good knob of butter, and I've also put in a very decent pinch of salt. And then a cup, just a regular coffee cup, but you want to use the same one for the water measurements, of rice. I'm using basmati rice. So if you were cooking on a weekday and you wanted something quicker, you would omit this step where you're frying it essentially with oil and butter. Instead, you would put in the water, the rice and the salt, and then bring that to the boil, which we will do shortly. So this is just frying the butter, and you can hear frying the rice rather, and you can hear it sizzling away at the moment. That's kind of where you want to get to. I'm just going to make it a little bit hotter before I add the water. So I learned this from my mother and from my Oma. My Oma, as you probably saw from the previous video, grew up in a German community, but she actually spent a fair amount of her childhood in the Middle East, and this is why we have a lot of rice in our diet. And when I grew up, I ate a lot of rice, more so than potatoes, which is not very German. It's obviously more German to not have rice every time you have a main meal. So this is now nice and hot. You can see that the butter is melted and it's been sizzling. I'll just do a little bit longer. Also, it's worth pointing out that when you're making this, you want it on the smallest hob on your oven, on your stove rather, because after it's been brought to the boil, you want to cook it very, very slowly. So that's probably about enough. So now I add the water. So you can see it's the same coffee cup as the rice, and you want double the amount of water as you had rice. So I had one coffee cup of rice and now 2 of the water. So this is why it doesn't matter if you have a smaller or bigger coffee cup than what I do. It just has to be double the amount. So then I put the lid on and bring this to the boil. Okay, now you can see that it's bubbling or boiling. So leave the lid on and then turn the heat down to lowest setting. So it's on a very small flame. You don't want to lift the lid for at least 5 to 10 minutes to check. And when you're checking, you essentially are just looking for no more water. And you would do this by getting a fork only and fluff it up, which I'll show you in about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. So with a fork only, you don't want to use a spoon. You just fluff the rice up to see if there's any water at the bottom. And as you may or may not see in the camera, there may be frosty, it might be steaming up the camera. There is a bit of water at the bottom. So I'll just leave that on, put the lid back on, and check again in another minute. So it's been about another minute, and as you can see, there's no water left in the rice. So if you were cooking on a weekday, it's been about 15 minutes, it's ready to eat now. But if you've got the time, especially if you're cooking for other people, you would do one final step. And this may look and sound absolutely ridiculous, but it's what my Oma and my mother swear by, and so I do this as well. You turn the flame off, then you get a towel or a tea towel or even newspaper, and you wrap the rice in it, and then you put it in the duvet in your bed, under the duvet, so to keep it warm. So essentially, by letting it rest and stay warm, it improves the flavour of the rice. So I know that looks and sounds ridiculous. I know when my mother got my father to do it for the first time when they moved in together, my mother asked my father to put the rice in newspaper, and he actually spooned the rice into newspaper, and when Mum went and collected it from the bed, it was black and white soggy rice, and it was quite funny. It's quite the joke of the family. But anyway, so you can put it in for like an hour. I haven't even started the rest of the dinner yet that we're going to eat today. All I've done is the rice. So I'll put this now in the bed. It'll be in there for about an hour, and it stays pretty warm. And it does actually improve the rice, but you don't have to do this step. You could just serve the rice as is, and that's it. It's quite easy.